Yeah. I'm my second win.
It take a certain type of motivation. Not to say I hope I make it, but to know I'll make it. See a way out through a pinhole, take a shot and make it. I'm that nigga Nip was talking about, just gonna decode the matrix. Won't see my last dance till I'm Joe and Bank and Bentley Cooper's brainless. Shit, I envision complex, but had to get the basics. Now when I come in, I'ma take it, this a home invasion. Put in work, no.
In the crazy day, man, had to go get my man Joseph Biggs Jr.
What up, dog?
Joseph Biggs with the calling. Hey man, so you know when I first got to Durham, one of the brothers like, dog, one of my fraternity brothers like, dog, you got to meet this guy Joseph Biggs. I'm like, I don't know that guy. I don't know who that is. And so we were in the gym, and he's like, dog, remember you said you didn't know Biggs? I'm like, yeah. I said, I don't know who that guy is. So he brought him over to me. He said, dog, we started talking. Come to find out, his son and my daughter, best friends. I'm like, dog, I never knew that. Thick as thieves. So I was like, oh, dog, yes, what's up? And cool dude. So when I say, like, he throws, like, when I say he's a humble guy, like, I'm gonna let him introduce himself and tell him a little bit about himself. But when I say he throws, like, an amazing event, it's an amazing event. I'm gonna talk about his event in a second. So, Big, I'm gonna let you go ahead and introduce yourself, man, and tell us a little about yourself, brother.
From Central, was always in corporate America in sales and in management. Eventually, my dad got sick and was here in Durham, and I had just gotten married. My wife was an attorney, so we got married, bought a house here, but I wasn't here. Came back, no job, no nothing, just quit my job, came back, wanted to be with my wife. And my dad got sick right after that, and he had to be induced. He was induced from 99 to May of 2000, in the May. He passed away back in May of 2000. Been here ever since, went back into sales and management. While he was sick, I took a teacher's assistant position so I could have the freedom to see him back and forth. And both my parents were in education. Never wanted to do education because education does not pay. I was making more money than my parents at the time, and got bit by the bug of helping these kids. Got with a company, MCI WorldCom. I was doing sales for them. And if you know about the MCI fiasco, the WorldCom fiasco, I jumped out before all that stuff went down because I could see the writing on the wall. Went into education at Neal Middle School, and been in education ever since. Did 3 years of teaching at Neal after being the ISS coordinator for a semester. And then I did 8 years at Southern High School, coached football at Neal and at Southern High. Then I went to Edgecombe County. I was driving from here to Edgecombe, an hour and a half one way and an hour and a half back. I was doing that soldier move, you know, to get that title of assistant principal, trying to go in administration. Came back to Durham looking for a job while I was working there. Got hired at Neal, so I went right back home. I've been at Neal now for the past 7 years. This is year number 7. Jay was talking about the parties. I started the alumni homecoming cabaret back in '92 during Central's homecoming weekend. We had a successful run for over 20. That's where you know me from. That's where a lot of people know me from. I had a successful run for about 23 years with that. We let it go back in after 2015. Started doing some small events, doing homecoming at rookies and some other things. Do a lot of events. I used to have a weekly event at the house, a weekly event at Club 44 in Raleigh. Whole lot of little things. And that's just my little side hustle, I guess you'd say. And hopefully, you know, Central, I don't know what they're going to do with homecoming this year. We're thinking about bringing that cabaret back. A lot of people have been asking for it, so we'll see what happens with that. And that's it right now, man. I'm just working with these kids, enjoying being in the school system and helping kids. Looking at some aspirations of going into doing some real estate. My wife passed back in June 30th of 2019, so that's been an adjustment in my life, trying to get used to that. Thank you. Still, my kids, as Jason said, my son and his daughter, thick as thieves.
Jordan? Is Jordan his son?
Jordan.
We had him on the show, right? The one we had on the show.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all had him on the show too?
Yeah.
That's my dude. I always tell people he's, you know, I got several sides to myself. He's the better half of me.
He's a good kid.
We
enjoyed that interview.
He's the cleaned up version of me. I'm so proud he ain't like me. That's a blessing that he's not like me. My daughter, love her to death. She's 17 and she's a senior at Jordan High School. She's more like me. Yeah, so Jordan was more like his mom. She's more like me. So we get along and then we don't get along because she's like me. You know?
Bro, lived there, done that.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's it.
So man, look, I'm gonna tell you about the cabaret, man. It was I won tickets to the cabaret one year. And I was like, man, I can't go, Biggs, because it's like, so every time, let me back up. So every year they have it, I'm always like, hey, Biggs, give me a ticket. He's like, dog, put your name in the hat for the raffle. I'm like, I'm gonna do that raffle, man, just give me a ticket. So one year, I said, all right, man. I did what he told me to do. He said, hey, man, look, you won. This is what you gotta do. So I was like, all right. Then I found out their homecoming was the same as my homecoming. And y'all know me.
We know you're not missing homecoming.
I'm not from college homecoming. So so it got out that I had a ticket, and people were like, "Hey man, let me get your ticket to the cabaret." I'm like, "No, no," because he was like, "Yo," he's like, "Hey, you gotta do X, Y, and Z to get the tickets." And I was like, "Man, I'm not coming. Don't worry about it. Give somebody else." Because I was out. But yo, that cabaret, massive.
Yes.
Everybody and their mama wanted a ticket to that thing.
Yeah, we used to do about 2,000 plus. It was kind of huge, man.
Yeah,
that's
I
serious.
was proud of that. That came from my idea. We took it and ran with it, and actually it was wide open because you know, when you graduate college, you don't try to go back to the class of 72's event, 56 event, and then there was nothing for our age group because you feel like you're grown now. You don't want to go back to the pre-dawn. You know, after that first year going back, you don't want to go back anymore. And so you got a wide range of people, and you got graduates every year, so it was a machine. It was a machine.
Got bigger and bigger every year.
Every year you got new graduates coming, boom, boom. So there's more people coming because they would hear about it and they weren't old enough to come. And then, you know, once they graduate, they were right on time. So it was very great for us for a long, long time. You know, and then we just kind of shut it down because it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work.
So you're in education now, man. So tell me, man, what's the biggest difference in education from like where you are now to when you first started in education?
The kids.
Oh wow.
It's a different kid.
Yes.
The kid is different in so many ways. Even back then, you know, you might have had a thug or a real life gang member. I mean, real life gang member. But they still had somewhat respect, you know, for your authority and what you told them, especially if you came at them in a real way and let them know who you were and care about them. Good. These kids, they not real gangsters. They want to be. And so they are over the top. They're not respectful.
Right.
And then just as our society as a whole, and Jay, you probably know this, you coach football. The everybody gets a trophy. That's what I call it. Everybody thinks they're entitled to something. They don't work for anything. They think everything's supposed to be given to them. Well, I'm better than him. I should just. No, he been coming to practice, bro.
Yes.
How you think you gonna? Yeah, you run a little faster, you catch a little better. But that man is putting the work in. I'm not gonna just give it to you because you're a little bit better. You think I ain't seen you in 2 weeks. It's game day. You gonna show up? You supposed? Nah, it's not gonna happen. So those type of things with these kids, just entitlement and thinking they're supposed to be handed something. That's the biggest difference. And then the parents are not even trying to reinforce it. Parents come to the games. They want to tell you why he ain't playing. He need to play. My son, we're at a different level. It's not Pop Warner. The best of the best. When your kid get his skill set together, if he comes to practice, we trying to work with him. He ain't want to cooperate. He's not gonna play. So it's just that type of thing. These kids just think things are supposed to be given to them. And I will say the school systems contribute to it too. You know, middle school is not gonna flunk middle school. Just don't do work for 3 years. 6th grade to 7th to 8th grade, you're gonna get passed. So I think we give these kids a little too much, and it's unrealistic. A lot of people say, oh, they shouldn't have homework. Or is it more important that they turn the assignment in on time or that they do the assignment? It's important that they do the assignment and turn it in on time.
Exactly.
You're not gonna let me come to work. You know what? I just feel like
right.
Yeah.
But I showed up though. I did show up.
I'm here.
Is it more important? Oh, I know you need to be there at 7, but I was feeling kind of funny, so I just decided I didn't call or say nothing. I'm just gonna come in at 10:30. I'm here. That's not gonna work. We setting them up for failure, man.
Yeah.
Setting them up for failure.
Absolutely.
So, so you said you were you started at Neal, went to Southern, now you're back at Neal. Because I know we talked about, you just mentioned about how the kids are. I work in recreation, so I see, like, you have them during the day, I get them after school.
Yeah.
And like in light of the recent school shooting that just happened in Winston-Salem and everything, and we're talking about how the kids are acting, do you see that the fear factor to the parents has diminished too? Because it used to be a time where you would tell a kid, well, I'm gonna call home, and they're like, no, don't call home. Now they're like, here's the number in the phone.
Well, like I said before, I contribute our society as a whole. That's teachers, neighbors, parents. I've had guys come in and they're talking to their mom, and they're using the B word. You need to bring me some lunch. I ain't eating this today. And I'm looking at them like, nah. Not on my watch. I need to pull you to the side. We need to have a discussion. We need to have a little conversation. You're not gonna talk to your mom like that, not in front of me. So the parents are not disciplining the kids. There are some kids that have some fear. They still wild out. And they have a little fear because when you get in my office, the tears start to flow. I'm about to make this phone call. Matter of fact, I'm gonna let you make the phone call and hand me the phone. You can go ahead and tell her you got in trouble, and I'll explain the details. And they don't want to do that. But the fear factor for the parent is gone. And people always say, you love your child and they need to respect you, and that's fine. But I think with all the love that you give them and the respect going back and forth and all of that, there's got to be a trace of fear. Because from a young age, that fear needs to be there, and then as you start to grow, that fear fosters and grows into respect. If you're not afraid of your parents and they're not disciplining you in some way, shape, form, or fashion, then that's a problem. Like, I don't have a problem. I never had a problem beating my kids. A lot of people are like, yo, that brings about a cycle of this, and it can be seen as abuse. I don't want to listen to that. I was raised by an old school pop. My dad wasn't going to spare that rod. He wasn't going to listen to no complaints. Kids stay in a kid's place. It's grown-ups talking. You need to get up out of here. This ain't none of your business. And if you're going to sit here, you ain't got nothing to say about what we're talking about because you don't have an opinion. And that sounds kind of harsh. Maybe later he would talk to me and ask me what I thought about what was said and stuff like that. That's a way to handle it. But at this point in time, these are adults. And adults are conducting whatever. That's not your place to be in this. And we gotten away from all that. You get in trouble down the street. And Sally down the street see it. She gonna yell at you. She gonna get you. Then she gonna call home and tell your mom and dad what happened. That's not to say I didn't do dirt. I did a lot of dirt. And I took the consequences that came with it. I knew they were coming. You got to be man enough to take the consequences. My parents would always say, one thing he's not gonna do, he's not gonna lie. I'll be like, yeah, I did it. Well, we're gonna do what you gotta do. You got a job. I knew you had a job, and I just decided this is what I was gonna do. I did it, but they don't have that anymore. These kids are kind of out here, wilding out, doing what they decide to do. And the music too, I believe, plays a lot of influence on these kids. I grew up rap music and all of that. And yeah, you listen to it, but they feel like they have to be a certain way.
Right.
And I don't understand it. I see kids that come from good households, good parents, and they just feel like they got to be thugged out or something. I keep telling them the world got to have some of everybody. You ain't got to be a thug to be liked, bro. Be yourself. And that's one thing I was talking about my son. He's himself. All the time. His dad is a little rougher than him and maybe louder and more boisterous, but that doesn't have to be you. And that doesn't mean you're less of a man. It just means that's not your thing. So
not your personality.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Bring the table,
So with what I'm saying, you talk about kids that don't get that discipline at home, or live in a certain way, and their parents aren't stepping in the way they're supposed to. Do you think your role is one of the most important roles in their life at this age?
You talking from a parent perspective or educator's perspective?
Educator.
All right, so my mom always told me, and my wife used to tell me, you're gonna probably be a good educator. And I was like, why do you think that? They said, because you're just like them. You don't like school. You done played around in school. You done this, that, and the third in the street. You understand a lot of where they're coming from. Mm-hmm. And so I see my role as not necessarily being a parent to them, and maybe not even like an uncle, but somebody that has had some similar experiences they may have had. And if I didn't have them, somebody I knew had them, and I can relate. And, you know, especially when we talk about our black and brown kids, you know, just being a black man in our society, that gives us a common ground out the gate.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, anyway. And so I just try to talk to them and meet them where they are. If you hear me talk to kids in school, you'll be like, this dude is an educator? You know, because I'm using the slang and everything else they're using. But it's a tactic to that. When they say, oh, he sound like me, he look like me, kind of dressed like me, his mentality is somewhat like mine, then I got him. So now I can talk to him, and then I can start using some SAT words. But what that means, I can tell them what it means, or they can grasp it in the context of our conversation. And then I can start to elevate and take them where I need them to go, or at least point them in the right direction. Now, whether they go or not, that's upon them. But I can at least tell them where they need to go. Just to give you an example, I had a young man that he was playing with the teacher this summer. He said he was playing, he didn't mean any harm, but he said something was kind of harsh, and she took offense to it. She brought him to me. She stated her case. She said he cursed. He said he didn't. I told him, I said, it's not my job to judge whether you cursed or not. She know what she heard. So we're going to play it from her perspective. You said this, this, and this. She took it as serious. You said you were playing. I said, but that's first and foremost a female. Second of all, she's a black female. So you got to understand, had that happened to your sister, how would you feel about it? If she came home and told you her perspective, or she heard somebody say this, this, and this to her, you'd be out here ready to get somebody, right? He said, yes. I said, we got to understand. She got a daddy. She got a brother, uncles, cousins. And if she go home and tell them, they won't want to be out here on your neck. So you got to look at it like that before you open your mouth. And it's upon you as a man to go back and apologize to her and explain, I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. I wasn't this and that, but I can see where you took it in that context. I know now that I can't play with you or joke with you in that manner. So I just try to give them a little bit of juice so they can make it through life, man.
So how do you deal with the first year teachers that might not have good classroom management? How do you help them with their classroom management?
That's a big one, man. That's very big, because you have all these people that know their subject matter, and they could be great teachers. They got good lessons and all of that, but they can't control the class. So all that knowledge and stuff you got is out of the window. Personally, I look for teachers, and I hate to say it, I like lateral entry teachers. Somebody who did something else, been somewhere else, and now they feel they want to dedicate their career to education, because more than likely they usually have the tools for the management. They don't have the teaching part. Right. And we got teachers who can do wonderful lesson plans. We can help you learn to teach, because you can get those kids, you can engage them, you can control them, and then once you do that, you can tell them anything and they'll listen. It's the other teachers that don't have that piece that's kind of hard. So when they don't have that classroom management, you have to go in and do several observations, give them some techniques, what we call PD, professional development, teach them and give them some techniques so they can become better. I try now, I know a lot of administrators that go in, they give them a laundry list of things. I try to pick out, right here, they got 10 things they need to work on. Out of this 10, what are the most important two? All I need to see for you to do is do these two this year. Then next year, I'll pull out 2 more, and then with 2 more, and try to build them. But you give somebody so much at one time, they're trying to do everything, and they're not mastering anything. So if you give them 2 things to focus on, I just need you to do this and do this. And I see that you're implementing that, and you're trying it, and I let them know it's not going to work the first day. It's got to be consistent. Here's like routine. And as you start to do that, and they start to change, I say, oh, you got that now. Let's try to add this. So that's how I go about it.
Dig it. Did you,
What?
did you one thing I do know about you, man, you all have a lot of male teachers at y'all school.
Yeah, we do.
So how do you I won't say find them, but do you look, I mean, when people apply, are you looking for male teachers? Or are you trying to be like, hey?
It's we just been lucky, and that's all I can say. It's not like we went out and said we got to get a lot of male teachers. We've had a lot of people come to us, and then from the team that we have as administrators and the things we've done at that school, that's been a lot of people want to come to us now, even though they've heard the reputation of the school, things of that sort. They know they get that administrative support. They know that we're there for the students first and foremost, and we just look for people with a passion for kids. If you got a heart for kids and trying to help kids, then we want you around. If you don't have that, that's the first thing, and then after that, we work on all those other things, you know.
And I think too, just the male presence is missing in a lot of homes. So I know I was looking on Facebook, and it was something going around saying, "Do you remember the first year you had a male teacher?" And and I was sitting here thinking, I was like, I probably was in high school the first time I had a male teacher.
Most people.
Yeah.
I was in college.
Now I would tell you.
You were in college?
I've never had a male teacher.
Oh, wow.
That male thing is a gift and a curse. Because it's good to have those male role models and have those male examples in the classroom, especially when there may not be those in the home. And I don't like to be stereotypical. People think, oh, they live here, daddy probably not around. That may not even be the case. But a lot of times when that is the case, that young man has been the man of the house. He's not used to taking directions from a man. So you get that pushback, that buck back, like, how you gonna tell me? How you gonna talk to me?
Right.
I take care of my house, and so you got that dynamic, and a lot of times, you got to break that away. It can be very hard sometimes.
When you have that pushback, though, you got to kind of, in my opinion, you got to form an alliance. And I hate to say it, but you got to form an alliance, make the young man feel like, hey man, I ain't trying to come in and take your role. But when you at the house, you can be as authoritative as you want to. But in here,
this is me. This is me. I let them know. I say, back there, that's your block. In here, this is my block.
Yeah.
I run this. Yeah.
So as an administrator, do you miss the classroom?
At first I did. Now I don't. Now I don't. My patience ain't classroom patience no more.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it ain't classroom patience.
You cover classrooms at all?
Huh?
You go cover the classroom at all?
Yeah, I will cover class. That's why I know my patience ain't there no more. That sit down, be still, get back to work. I don't have that in me anymore. I used to.
Now, what subject did you teach?
I taught social studies. I taught social studies. Well, in the middle school, it was called world history at the time. Well, it was called social studies, and then in ninth grade at the high school, it was called world history. But I also taught the AVID class. I was the AVID coordinator and the elective teacher. I was a one-man team over at Southern High School for about 3 to 4 years. Yeah.
What's AVID?
Advancement via individual determination. And it was a program that was started by a lady out in California to help students that were middle of the road students. What I mean by that is you have students that are AIG students, and they get services. They get the special AIG treatment and all that. Then you got those kids that have other special needs on the lower end, and they get services. But that kid is just your average everyday kid coming to school. They usually get lost in the shuffle. They don't get paid attention because they're not really flourishing, but they're not bad. So, and that's what I tell a lot of students too. I try to get to know all the students, but I know the ones that come in my office the most. I'm not in trouble. People are like, oh yeah, my son goes there. What's his name? Nah, I don't know him. Does he get in trouble? Nah, well, I have no place to know him consistently without me going in the classrooms and trying to get to know them, which is not always possible every day. So those middle of the road kids, it turned out this program taught them note-taking skills, study skills, time management, and organization. And you will find 9 times out of 10, those kids would outperform the AIG students. And that's actually how, his daughter and my son went to the early college. And that's how the early college really got started. It was really like with the avid principals, it was a whole school for kids that were more or less first generation college, middle road. And it changed later on where they started getting more of the kids that were very, very good students and excelling. But that's how it got started. And you see those kids able to perform. They can perform once they get those avid principles. And then, you know, the district kind of did away with the program. It has come back within the past few years to Jordan. I think Hillside has it. I'm not sure about any middle school that has it, but this year I implemented it, the Avid Notebook and some other things on my 8th grade at Neal Middle School.
Okay.
Yeah. Especially since we've had those gaps since the pandemic and stuff. I just feel like those skills will help these kids get back on track and get back in place where they need to be.
Do you see a lot of the gaps, especially like in your 6th graders? Because that means they would have been in what, 3rd grade, 4th grade?
Our 6th graders would have been 4th graders.
4th graders.
I mean, it's hard for me to say. I see the gaps, but traditionally, with the students that we have, when they come to us in 6th grade at Neal, whether it was pandemic or not, they were always usually on a lower reading level. And I'm just seeing now that there's more of a reading gap. And as we know, math itself has gone towards reading. If you can't read, I can show you problems and you could be a math whiz.
Right.
But then I give you that standardized test and it's got that word problem and you can't recognize those words and how to structure and put that problem together to break it down and solve it, you're not gonna pass.
Where's your dad taking you for your graduation?
Yeah, so that's the only funny thing about it. So I feel like I've been stressing literacy this year because literacy is gonna help them all around.
Where you trying to get your dad
Right.
for you?
Yeah.
So I came over to Neal during the pandemic, and they had when they were students doing virtual learning. And y'all had a Wellness Wednesday. Y'all would have a food truck come out. Whose idea was the food truck?
Well, now the food truck thing came about. We were doing that even before we had the pandemic. We were doing that about once a month on Fridays. We'd pick a Friday, and it kind of came about with us just talking one day, administration, and but I would give the credit to Miss Watson, who was our MTSS coordinator. And she really took the concept and ran with it and got all the food trucks, scheduled it, and did all of that. But it was a collective effort when we thought about it, you know, just trying to get the teachers a little something extra, a little extra incentive, because as we say, we don't make enough money. We up at 5 and then there at 7 in the morning. Everybody else still kicking and get to go work out, do whatever they want to do to start their day. And then we don't get compensated enough either. These teachers are not being paid what they're worth, man. And I'm here to say that over and over again.
But like North Carolina's like, was it 46 in teacher pay?
Man, they like 46. I know at one point, and it might still be the same. I know about 5 years ago, even with assistant principals, we were 50th in the nation. Yeah. Put it this way, one of my sister's good friends teaches kindergarten in D.C. She make way more than I make as an assistant principal. And she teaching kindergarten.
She teaches kindergarten? Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I told you I was in sales and management. The salary I get now, I was making when I was 27. That's crazy.
Yes, I have a sister who's an AP in Wake County, and so she's like, she definitely not in it for the money.
Nah, you can't be in it for the money. And I will tell you that most teachers that you know have a side hustle. They do something.
Yeah.
They're a waiter or waitress at a restaurant. They're trying to start a business. They're doing something because, you know, we're only one of the few professions where people go to work and they got to have a second and third job. You know, you're a lawyer, you go do the law and you go home. Doctor, you go doctor and go home. Everybody, but we clock in. When we clock out, we clock back in. Hence the party promotions and stuff I was doing, all that. They just do that to, you know, have extra income.
I've always thought, like, one of the things when I did my master's degree, one of the things I looked at was, I was like, man, you got teachers aim on a 10-month calendar, but they got 12 months of bills. Like, why not have professional development in the summertime and then still pay them? They can travel and go wherever to get the professional development, but hey, give them those 12 months. Give them those 2 extra months of pay. And not only that, that'll give them a raise as far as their salary. They're stretching 10 months salary over 12 months. So they're going to pay the pay cut.
Yeah, especially in North Carolina.
Don't even care.
Yeah, you in North Carolina where the salary ain't going to be fat anyway. And you got to think, when we look at people like I mentioned, lawyers and doctors, we talk about NFL athletes, talk about NBA athletes, you talk about whatever. Those kids came through school.
Right.
You can't go to you can't make it to the NFL without going to college.
Nope.
Somebody had to help you at least get through high school. Whether they lied or whatever the case may be, you had some teachers. So you're gonna tell me he ran the ball and now he's making $84 million over 4 years, and here I am as a teacher and all I'm getting is $45,000 a year. That ain't adding up.
That
ain't adding up.
Yeah.
And he ain't looking back like Mr. Biggs helped me out when I was in 7th grade. Let me cut him. Let me break him off a little something. Nah. It's just like, hey, you was a cool dude. And don't tell me I was cool, bro. Cut a check.
Yeah. He helped me out. He kept me out of detention. Yeah.
That's that type of thing.
So man, look, 10 years. Where is Joe Biggs at?
In 10 years from now, I can't say I'm gonna be in education. I got an entrepreneurial spirit. I got some things I'm trying to do. If I can do those well, then I'll bow out gracefully. But within the next 2 years, I hope to be a principal, have a principalship, ride that out until it's time for retirement, and then go into my second part of what I'm doing and do for me. And leave something for my kids. Leave something for my kids. That's it.
Absolutely.
That's what's up.
That's the plan.
You get a principal job somewhere, man. Let me know, man. I come work at the school.
I like the bros around.
Now you got a whole bunch of them at your school, man.
Yeah, it's a few of them that left. I mean, people always say, "Oh, you don't do nothing but high IQs." That's not it. They gotta have the credentials, and they gotta be able to do the job. I mean, I know we got the brotherhood, but if making me look bad, I'll see you at the cookout. I won't see you in here. Hey, no harm, no foul. Ain't nothing personal.
Nah, hey man, it's all about business, buddy.
It's about business. It ain't personal.
Absolutely.
I get it. So look, man, I steal this line from Michael every week, man. So I'm gonna keep my tradition going. So like we always ask our guests to give us a word of inspiration for our viewers, man. So give the viewers a little something they can hang their hat on for the week.
Oh man. I'd say something I always tell the kids. You are the sum of the 5 people you hang around the most. You are the sum of the 5 people you hang around the most. If you hang around 5 gangbangers, I can show you who's gonna be number 6. If you align yourself with people that have aspirations, want to be successful, got their head on straight, trying to do things, or 5 millionaires, I can tell you who's gonna be number 6. Because you can't help but assimilate and start to act like those that you're around. Y'all gonna use the same slang, you're gonna start liking some of the same places to go, you're gonna have conversations, you're gonna pick up information, and you can't help but put it in place because you don't want to be the weak link in the group. So,
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
That's real.
I like
I like that.
Man, I'm gonna use that one, bro. I gotta use that.
Yeah.
One. You're the sum of the 5 people you hang around.
Hang around the most.
Let me use that. We should put that on the shirt.
We can.
Yeah, for real.
That's pretty good.
Let's do it.
Yeah. But look, man, I appreciate you coming on, man, and blessing us a little bit with your story.
I appreciate
Absolutely.
y'all having me.
Every chance we get to have an educator on, man, I got to get him on, man, because you guys do an amazing job in the schoolhouse, man. And like you said, you don't get the financial compensation that you deserve, but we appreciate. I know I appreciate you.
Hey, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
So, Mike, I'm gonna let you take us out of here, brother.
All right. Well, if this is your first time tuning in, please like, subscribe, and continue to follow us on this journey. If you've been following us so far, keep on keeping on because we have a lot more amazing episodes to come. We are Dreams to Reality, a nonprofit organization geared toward uplifting, inspiring, and empowering communities all over the world. I'd like to thank my 2 co-hosts, Patrice Lovett and Mr. Jason Redmond.
All right.
And I'd like to thank our amazing guest, Joseph Biggs. I
Thank you for
appreciate
having me.
Yeah, man, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure, brother. Definitely not the normal educator. I told Jason this. I was putting together your flyer. I thought I was putting together a rap poster. You know what I'm saying? My man was extra smooth on it. But I appreciate you having us on. Hopping on the show for us, man. Definitely.
Yeah, no doubt. Anytime, man. Anything I can do to support what y'all do, I'll definitely be all over Facebook pushing out the name of the podcast. Just make sure I get the times and all of that when it happens. I don't look for anything in return. Anybody I can help, whenever I can help, I do it.
We appreciate it.
Before I go, tell me the name of your podcast, man, when you take it.
Front Porch Discussions every Thursday at 6:15 p.m. live on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is Front Porch Discussions, and live on Facebook on my personal page. It's not a private page. Anybody can go to it, see it. I don't hide anything from people. It's very transparent. So yeah, Front Porch Discussions every Thursday at 6:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
Live.
Hey, y'all thought I had a big bag? Yo, Big's bag is huge. That joker has some people on that Front Porch Discussion.
Send us the details so we can promote it on our
I'll send it to Jay tonight or tomorrow, and he can get it to y'all. And y'all, please tune in this week. It's gonna be real good this week. We're talking to single black females and the dating scene and what's going on with all of that.
It's true.
Yeah, hey, well, you need to be making comments, and I'll pull you up. We did grief a couple of weeks ago, talking about spousal grief. Myself and a couple of people that have lost their spouses. So we try to do a lot of stuff for the community. Go out and we had a black business initiative, what we call it Pay It Forward, where one black business would take 10% of their income for the weekend and pass it on to another black business while we're in the pandemic. We try to do a lot of things. You know, Jay taught me well, the bros taught me well. All about service.
Absolutely.
You're doing big things, man. I'm proud to say I know you, bro.
I'm proud to say I know you.
Shit.
Hey
man, I just try to be the change, brother.
That's what we're trying to do, bro. Y'all doing it. I like this platform. Y'all keep doing what you're doing, and I'll definitely be tuning in and pushing it for you as well.
Appreciate that.
All right.
Well, thank you for tuning in once again, and remember, our goal is not to be better than anybody, but together we can achieve better for everybody. Thank you, and have a good night.